sunny day. My name is Ben. I'm going to be telling you about these amazing creatures, our penguins, over the next few minutes, and you're going to be watching them have their lunch. Now, some of them, here they are. This is a round of applause for our penguins, everyone. Aren't they glorious? They are fantastic. Porpoising away for your pleasure. Now, these are one kind of penguin. It is, in fact, the largest penguin pool in all of England, home to more than 90 penguins now. We started with about 50 a few years ago, and they have been amazing at breeding. So we've got more than 90 of them. They're looking pretty hungry today, so I think you're in for a nice show. But this is just one kind of penguin, just one out of 18 different species around the world. These are the Humboldt Penguins of South America. They have a really broad range. They go right the way down the coastal regions of Chile and Peru, so right the way down the side of South America. Absolutely wonderful animals. They're actually a sort of medium-sized penguin, I'd say. The smallest penguin in the world, right the way down here. Just 1 foot tall. That's the little blue penguin. Also called the fairy penguin, a rather cute name. And then they go all the way up to about this tall on me. Now I admit, I'm not the tallest person in the world, so that doesn't say very much. But it's about 4 foot tall. And that is the emperor penguin, the lovely yolky throat. You've probably seen it in March of the Penguins. Very, very famous penguins, the emperor. These are somewhere in the middle. They're huge colony birds. They collect they nesting colonies up to about 10,000 birds at a time. And they're actually hole nesters as well. You can see their burrows over there at the back of Penguin Beach. Slightly contemporary burrows, I must say. Now, out in the wild, those will be made of sticks and stones and guano. That's another word for penguin poo. So perhaps not the way we make our homes, but it works extremely well for them. You could call them the ultimate upcyclers. But that's my perspective anyway. Now, what about these penguins? Well, of course, there is something that binds our 18 different species of penguin. 2 things, actually. One, the side of the world you find them on. Penguins in the wild only live in the southern hemisphere. So that imaginary line, the equator, we draw around the middle of the world, they're only found south of that line. 1 or 2 cross the border around the Galapagos Islands, but really they only live south of that line. The other thing that binds them, of course, is their favourite kind of food. I think you all know very well what their favourite kind of food is, so I want you to shout it out as loud as possible after 3. What is a penguin's favourite kind of food, boys and girls? 1, 2, 3! You are right. Penguins love fish. There is nothing better in the penguin world than nice, fresh, juicy fish. They're getting 2 of their favourites here today, sprat and sand eel. They get super excited about sand eel. Some of them being rather spoiled, I must say, and hand-fed up here on the beach. By Janet, everyone give Janet a wave. Hi Janet, thank you. And some of them being fed down the front by the delightful Paul. Everyone wave at Paul. Lovely, thank you very much, Paul. Yes, and you'll notice the ones being fed down the front. The fish is being dropped into the water. Some of it is being collected immediately by the penguins, and some of it is sinking down to the bottom. Now, this is actually encouraging a kind of behaviour that actually binds all penguins together. Again, and that is diving behaviour. All penguins around the world are fantastic at diving under the water. They can actually dive to about 100 meters under the water. Not 100 feet, 100 meters. That great big tree over there, that is about 80 feet above where we are now. You can times that by 3, you're still not 100 meters under the water. Now, if ever you dive maybe a couple of meters down at the deep end, your ears start to feel funny, your eyes start to feel funny, and that's because of the increase in pressure. Imagine what 100 meters would do to you. These guys, even more impressive, they can actually go to 150 meters under the water. But the great big emperor penguin, that breaks the record by far. 500 meters under the water. That's enough for roughly twice the height of the Shard at London Bridge. It is an insane depth to be able to go down to, but they can do it, and they've got a few very special adaptations. I'm going to use this lovely penguin over here as a model. We're going to demonstrate some of those lovely differences. Now, first of all, always worth remembering, these animals are birds. Sometimes we forget they're birds because they're not flying around in the sky like these cheeky gulls, but they are birds. And because they're birds, they have feathers. They've actually got 2 kinds of feathers. There are several different kinds of feathers. Penguins beautifully exhibit 2 of those. We're about to see some up on here. On the outside of these penguins, you might notice a kind of silvery colour, particularly in the ones swimming around. That's a semi-waterproof layer of feathers. Semi-waterproof. It stops them getting too wet and too waterlogged on those deep ocean dives. We've been joined by the delightful Rainbow. Some of you may have seen Rainbow on our social media. Do you have anything to say, Rainbow? No, she doesn't have anything to say. A little microphone shy today. But this is a lovely Rainbow. You can tell she's got a little rainbow around her arm. But they have two layers of feathers, one semi-waterproof and another, down by their skin, a downy layer. This is a really nice fluffy layer of feathers that keeps them really warm and insulated on those cold ocean dives. Particularly these guys, they're called Humboldt Penguins because they swim in the cold water current, the Humboldt. It's named after Alexander von Humboldt back in the 19th century, and it's a cold water current. They do need a way of staying nice and warm, so if any of you are wearing vests or thermals today, that's basically what their second layer, the downy layer, is for. Another thing their feathers provide them with, believe it or not, is camouflage. I know that sounds really weird. We can see them really clearly. How does a black and white animal hide in a blue ocean? But the ocean does not appear blue when you're inside it. When you're swimming down a few meters down, you look up to the ocean surface. It actually appears white. Now, if a penguin swims over the top of you, you're going to see that lovely white tummy of the penguin against the white ocean surface. So it'll blend in that way. Now imagine you're looking down to the dark ocean floor. If it's more than about 10 meters deep, the light can't get that far down, and it actually appears quite dark. And then you see the lovely dark back of the penguin against the dark ocean floor. So they blend in that way as well. It's called counter-shading camouflage. Lots and lots of animals that live in the sea have it. Think about it. Whales, sharks, birds, lots of fish, often they have white tummies, dark backs. Sometimes they're trying to hide from predators, sometimes they're trying to hide from prey. But it's all counter-shading camouflage. Now, moving inside their body, because they're even different to other birds inside their body. We've said that they're birds, but obviously they can't fly. The reason these gulls were able to fly, there's two reasons. One, flight feathers. Great big feathers on the outside of their wings, lots of surface area to catch the air and get them up into the sky. Secondly, they need to be nice and light, and you know you're trying to fly with dense, heavy bones like ours. So these birds have hollow bones. They have a honeycomb structure inside their bone. It's called pneumatization. It basically means they're nice and light and they can get up into the sky. But if you think about it, what serves these gulls fantastically well for getting up into the sky would be a disaster for a penguin. Imagine a penguin with hollow bones. Every time they try to dive down into the water, they just pop back up to the surface, like they're wearing armbands. It would be a nightmare. So, what they've got, which is different to other birds, is dense, heavy, strong bones. A lot like ours, that actually help them to push their way through the water with extra gravity and extra weight, up to 15 miles an hour. Now that doesn't sound too fast, but if you're a very good swimmer,
hey.
Oh.
Go to a video library. It would be really cold.
Hello.
Tummy. He's rubbing his tummy on.
Look, there's another one. There's another one.
Can you get pets with pet penguins? No, you can't get pet penguins.
Unless I suppose you're some eccentric ones and then you know.
Does that mean it's
Dad, look, there's two of them.
What did you do at the zoo? Spent about 3 hours with penguins.
Hello. Oh, it's not. What's that? What's that?
If I press stop, will it carry on sending?
There's no
Carry on sending it.
It's going.
Look, Daddy. Right
Some are different colours, like those ones are
Mommy,
more
look
white.
at it.
There's some
Mommy,
rock
look.
aren't there? There's ones where they've got the yellow. Look, there's some.
Mommy, look at them.
They're like gangs and stuff then.
Who?
No, I said she's there.